For years, Abdullah al-Omer rubbed shoulders with some of the most powerful people in Syria. In case there is any doubt, he is quick to show photos in his phone as proof. Scores of photographs show the corpulent Syrian beaming and shaking hands with government ministers, foreign dignitaries, and even the Syrian president. "He knew me by name," al-Omer said, pointing to a photo of himself standing with Bashar al-Assad. "One day we were sitting at a table and he fed me with his own hand and said to me, 'You love food since you are from thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased.'" Aleppo. Then he said to his escort, "Take special care of Abdullah al-Omer because he loves food and his stomach." Read more. Assad's lifelong friend speaks out. Al-Omer claims that for 5 years he worked in the press office of the presidential palace in Damascus, as part of a 15-person team under the direction of longtime government spokeswoman and presidential advisor Boutina Shapon. Until he defected and fled the Syrian capital last month, al-Omer said, the bulk of his work consisted of lying. "Our job was to fabricate, make deceptions and cover up for thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Bashar al-Assad's crimes, he said. It is impossible to independently confirm al-Omer's claims. The fact that he freely admits to a career as a government propagandist makes him a somewhat unreliable whistleblower. However, the editorial director of a pro-rebel media organization who asked not to be named for security reasons confirmed to CNN that he knows al-Omer worked for Syrian secret police. "He is the biggest informant for the Al-Jazeera," the Syrian journalist said, referring to Syria's much-feared Air Force intelligence agency. "He was a very strong informant who worked for the palace and worked for thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Boutina Shapon. During a 4-hour interview in Istanbul, al-Omer described in detail some of the propaganda methods used by pro-government media. During the government's artillery bombardment of the rebel-held neighborhood of Bab el-Amr in the city of Homs, loyalist women were brought in and disguised as locals for government television interviews, he said. The women would say that the massacres against men, women and children were perpetrated by armed gangs, when it was actually the Syrian regime, security forces and the Shabiha, the pro-government militia, who were behind these horrendous acts, al-Omer said. "These thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Claims are backed by the accounts of residents of Homs, who spoke to CNN on condition of anonymity for fear of reprisal at the hands of Syrian security forces. Read more. Who is arming Syrian conflict? "I remember that day as if it was yesterday, when state TV showed Assad parading through Bab el-Amr. Not a single resident was from the area," said a native of Homs, now exiled to neighboring Lebanon. "They brought them from neighboring towns from the countryside so they could pretend he was getting a hero's welcome, that he was greeted as a beloved thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased." Leader, when in reality everyone in Homs knew he was behind the destruction of every house and the killing of every innocent civilian on Homs and every other city in Syria. After protests erupted against the government in March 2011, al-Omer said, he was ordered to establish a pro-regime TV station in Aleppo. The commercial on a Syrian website shows al-Omer holding a microphone in front of a banner advertising Al-Aleppo TV. Journalists in Aleppo said the station was a cheaply run operation that broadcast over the internet. One of Omer's assignments was to book pro-regime thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Guests on his TV channel, as well as on larger international networks, to discredit defectors from the Syrian government. "We would contact regime loyalists from Lebanon or Syria to appear as guests on Al Jazeera, Al Arabia and other channels, to say these defectors are bad, corrupt, and not doing their jobs well." Asked how his former colleagues would react to his own defection, al-Omer said, "They will follow standard procedure and say Abdullah al-Omer has nothing to do with the press office, and doesn't work in the presidential palace, and that they never heard of me and thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. That I descended from heaven just to smear the image of the regime. But what will embarrass them," he continued, "is that I appear in a lot of pictures and videos, practically in all the press conferences for Bashar al-Assad and his official reception ceremonies. There is ample photographic evidence to back this claim. In more than a dozen photos, Al-Omar is clearly seated at press conferences featuring al-Assad and a number of visiting heads of state, including Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, and Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Pictures also revealed al-Omar thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. At the presidential palace and at what appear to be government receptions, posing alongside high-ranking officials like Shaba, Syrian Foreign Minister Walid Moallem, and top members of the Syrian parliament and ruling Ba'ath political party. Read more. Damascus residents attempt normal life. Al-Omar was also photographed alongside regime allies such as Palestinian Hamas leader Khaled Massadal, the Iranian ambassadors to both Damascus and Beirut, and a bearded man Al-Omar identified as the head of the Politburo of Hezbollah. The Iranians met with Bashar al-Assad almost daily, Omar said. Iranian security officials, high-ranking officers of the Iranian Revolutionary thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Guard, a lot of high-ranking officers. In what may have been a breach of protocol, Al-Omar also appeared in photos with former Lebanese President Emil Laab dressed in a shiny nylon tracksuit. Omar offered tantalizing, and impossible to independently confirm, details about the inner workings of the presidential palace. Throughout the bloody 19 months of the Syrian uprising, he said, the Syrian president grew increasingly irritable and anxious. Al-Omar described how al-Assad began nervously pacing the halls, and often stared out the windows of the hilltop palace down at the city of Damascus. 3. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Or for months into the revolution, he seemed more preoccupied and more anxious. Rarely did we see him smiling, Al-Omar recalled. Sometimes we would see him do things with his head, hands or feet that are not appropriate for a president, he continued. One day I saw him kicking the table and he was cursing and swearing against the people of Homs, Rostin and Darabay, and he verbally abused the Sudanese and the Syrian people in general. Al-Omar said al-Assad worked out of an office about 30 meters down the corridor from the room where the press thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Department was stationed. He claimed the beleaguered president was obsessed with foreign media coverage of Syria. Bashar al-Assad has 16 TV screens in the meeting room, in his office, and also in the press office, the defector said. Most news channels on the top row of the TV screens were Al Jazeera, Al Arabia, BBC, CNN. He considered media people his first enemies. He hated them more than the revolution of the Free Syrian Army, especially the foreign reporters who enter Syria, because these were people who were showing the true picture and truth about what's happening. And thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Syria. He would get very angry and swear, cursing the secret police and security forces, saying, why can't they find out where these reporters are, capture them and bring them to me so that I can't kill them? There is no way to confirm Al-Omar's claims, but several foreign reporters have lost their lives in Syria this year. Read more. Wounded UK journalist blasts butchery. Veteran war correspondent Marie Colvin and photographer Remy Alquick were killed by government artillery fire in Homs in February. They were among the first of a growing number of foreign thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Journalists killed and wounded after entering Syria to report without government permission. Meanwhile, the Syrian government has also held several foreign reporters in captivity for protracted periods without acknowledging their presence. With the help of Iranian mediation, Syrian authorities released Turkish journalists Adem Kos and Hamet Koskun in May, nearly 2 months after they disappeared in northern Syria. The U.S. State Department recently announced that an American freelance reporter named Austin Tice is also believed to be in Syrian government hands. Tice disappeared in Syria last August. Meanwhile, a campaign has been organized in Turkey to lobby for thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The release of Cunit Bunal, the Turkish cameraman who was captured in Syria and paraded on government television last August. Amid efforts to crack down on voices of dissent as well as the growing armed insurgency, the presidential palace was not immune to danger, Al-Omar said. The biggest crisis took place in July, when a bomb killed 4 top security officials from the National Crisis Management Bureau. Among the dead was Presidential Security Advisor Hassan Dirkmani, a stern-faced man with a mustache who was shown in several photographs standing alongside al-Omar. Al-Omar claimed al-Assad narrowly missed the "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Bombing by a few minutes. He also said Mayor al-Assad, the top military commander and brother to the Syrian president, was gravely wounded in the bombing. He also claimed Mayor al-Assad was transported to Russia for treatment. When contacted by CNN, the Russian government did not immediately respond to al-Omar's allegation. 2 days after he returned from medical treatment in Russia, Mayor al-Assad came to the presidential palace, al-Omar said. He had lost his left leg in the bombing and also the use of his left arm. The president's brother has not been seen in public since "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The bombing. Shortly after the attack, diplomatic sources were saying Mayor al-Assad had been badly wounded. Read more. Syrian children forced to hold school in a cave. Al-Omar's motives for abandoning his position near the seat of power are not entirely clear. It could be self-preservation. According to reports on several Syrian websites, al-Omar survived an attack in Aleppo by armed terrorists in 2011. Asked about the incident, the normally voluble al-Omar declined to comment. Instead, the former propagandist said the turning point came last month, when he drove through his hometown of Atarab in the "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. North of the country. I swear I cried when I entered Atarab and saw that all the houses and shops were abandoned, everything was destroyed and burned, al-Omar said. During a visit to Atarab last August, CNN journalists saw the virtual ghost town of ruined buildings devastated by months of fighting between regime forces and rebels. I never thought the situation was so bad, I just saw things on TV, al-Omar continued as his eyes filled with tears. When I saw these things with my own eyes I cried, how could Bashar al-Assad do this? I "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Apologize to the Syrian people, because I worked at some point with this butcher and killer regime. It was a tearful, emotional apology from a Syrian who had spent years working his way into the halls of power. But his sincerity was questionable, coming from a man who admitted to spending years lying for the Syrian regime.